Aside from victimella, we all want the best for ourselves. And we envision what our dream life would look like. Oh, this is what my life would be like if I got up and moved to Italy. Or this is what my life would look like if I made 6 figures and I had the salary that I always wanted. But that's all that it is. It's a want and a dream. Because you can't want something and have it at the same time. And through your subconscious mind, you are actively keeping yourself in a state of perpetual want so that you can prevent yourself from getting whatever it is that you desire. And then when that thing that you want doesn't materialize, you're stuck in the same dead-end job, your salary is still $12 and 2 raspberries, you just blame external factors. Oh, but now is not the right time. Oh, I'm not quite ready for this. Oh, I should go back to school and get more education before I ask for a promotion. Oh, but I have 12 kids and I live in a shoe, so I can't get up and move. And then you breathe a sigh of relief because nothing has to change. And then you go on living your life as if nothing happened, continually depriving yourself of whatever it is that you want most. You can't want something and have it at the same time. Welcome to all the new and returning bad bitches. I am Nikki, your host. I am the baddest bitch in the building. Not to be confused with you, who's also the baddest bitch in the building. And whether you tune into this show every week or you've just stumbled upon this episode today, this is the only podcast teaching women how to use the patriarchy's loopholes while actively unlearning our internalized patriarchy and misogyny, and to make the best out of the cards that we're dealt, so that we ensure that no matter how the deck is shuffled, we are always going to end up with the queen. So, our brains and our nervous system don't like change. Our brains cognitively resist change through what's called a status quo bias, which is a preference for maintaining things the way that they are. And our nervous system also likes to keep things the way that they are, and that's why we normally have a stress response when we're faced with change. We get heart palpitations, our palms become sweaty, our mouth gets dry, our under boobs get sweaty, our stomachs start to gurgle, and we feel like we have to go and blow up a bathroom. And so at a physiological and at a cognitive level, our bodies resist change. And for your entire life, you have built a version of yourself that feels safe, based on affirmative responses that you get from your own body, from yourself, and from other people, like parents, teachers, peers, friends, even strangers, which is crazy. And all these people, all these forces have been perverted by patriarchy and misogyny. Ugh. So, you've basically internalized the patriarchy and the misogyny in the world, and you've created a sense of self based off of that. No, like actually think about it. We've programmed our bodies to respond positively to patriarchy. We are literally patriarchy sleeper agents. Disgusting. Don't piss me off. And that's why I'm here, because we gotta fix this mess that we're in, okay? You have to start thinking of your current sense of self that's based on safety and fear, which I'm going to get into. You have to think of this version of yourself as being in a parasitic relationship with your future and your success and the future version of yourself. Okay? So the current version of yourself is in a parasitic relationship with the future version of yourself. And a parasite, I want to be very clear on this analogy. According to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States, a parasite is an organism that lives on or in a host organism and gets its food from or at the expense of its host. So the food for the parasite that is your current self is your hopes, dreams, ambitions, your goals, the future life that you want for yourself, the desire for more money, for a better job, for whatever it is that you want your dream life to look like. The food is anything that gets you the success that you want. And then when those things are all gobbled up by the parasite, you're left with fear, guilt, doubt, and worst of all, comfort. And because our brain and our nervous system wants to keep us safe and comfortable, what happens is that our bodies turn that comfort into our reality. So your reality essentially becomes the byproduct of everything that you're left with after the parasite has gobbled up your hopes and dreams. And what's most concerning is that the parasite, that is your current self, is actively feeding off of the pieces that you need to achieve your new reality, the reality that would get you the success that you've been wanting your whole life. And as that parasite feeds off of your future, you just continue rotting in your comfort zone. Now, to actually kill that parasite and get rid of it, there is something very uncomfortable that you need to do. Picture it, Sicily, 1926. I'm just kidding. If you got that reference, I would die for you. But really, picture it, Toronto, 2025. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that last April 2025, I quit my corporate job and started pursuing my podcast and my book full time. And that decision came easily to me. Like, it was the easy part because I was banking on the faith that I had in myself. And if there's anyone I can trust wholeheartedly to deliver and look like a bad bitch doing it, it's me. However, what came afterwards, that was the difficult part. Now, one day I was at a big family gathering at my aunt's house and there was lots of people there. And obviously, you know, when you see family members who you haven't seen in a while, you do the whole small talk of, oh, how's work going? How are the kids? How's blah, blah, blah. And whenever someone asked me how my work was going, I would lie and say that my consulting projects were going great, blah, blah, blah. And I would literally tell them about projects I was working on before I quit my job. And the reason I did this was because I had this icky sense of imposter syndrome after I quit. Because, and by the way, quit is the past tense of quit. Because up until that point, I was a consultant. I was a sustainability consultant. And that's a safe term. Millions of people call themselves consultants, and there's nothing crazy about that. So it was safe and it was comfortable. But stepping into a new identity of being a podcaster or being an author or being a philosopher, as I am, it was so weird to me. I felt like a fraud every time I called myself a podcaster. And honestly, y'all can call me whatever you want. Just please do not call me an influencer. That is truly the worst thing anyone could call me. But I felt so icky and I felt so uncomfortable with this new label that I literally lied to uphold my old reality. So I was literally mentally stuck in a location that I physically left. And it wasn't until I started calling myself a podcaster, a podcast host, a podcast producer. I'm literally Barbie. Like, I have 9 million jobs. And as soon as I started calling myself any of those things, not to be confused with an influencer, but as soon as I started coming clean, as if I did something wrong. But as soon as I started identifying with my new role, my new identity, and shifting my sense of self, oh my gosh, everything I did felt so easy. I finally was able to step into my new identity. And that's when my podcast started to grow, opportunities started coming to me, and it was such a big shift. And you need to understand that when you resist your new identity, you're essentially telling the universe, hey, sit back, put your feet up, babe. Don't worry about me. You sit back, relax, universe, and I'm not going to ask you for anything because I'm not ready for it. And the universe is going to be like, who is this loser? Like, what? So, the blueprint for creation, the blueprint for everything good that comes your way starts with your thoughts and your sense of self. And then that is the instruction manual for the universe to give you what you want. But if you're resisting what you want, then no one is going to give it to you. Like if you go to McDonald's and you want to order a Happy Meal, I have the palate of a 5-year-old, so I order Happy Meals from time to time. And you go to the cash and you're just like tweaking, and the server is like, "Hi, what can I get you?" And you're like, I don't know." Guess what? You're not getting diddly. And it's the same thing when you're actively resisting all your desires and all the opportunities that come with it. How embarrassing is that? So, to get rid of the parasite that is your old self, you need to do something that is extremely uncomfortable. So, to get rid of the parasite that is your old sense of self, which is actually technically your current sense of self, you need to do something that is extremely uncomfortable, which is you need to completely get rid of your old sense of self. You need to kill that identity and create a new one, because you are literally running on an outdated software. Like, you should be on iOS 26 right now. Yes, I did look it up right before I started filming. You should be on iOS 26, but you're actually on the software that programmed your mom's old Nokia phone from 2005. So your current sense of self does not have the functionality and the ability to handle the new things that you want. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to reprogram yourself to update your outdated software and get rid of that parasitic old sense of self. So your current sense of self is a set of limiting beliefs. You are literally the embodiment of all the limiting beliefs that you have about yourself and your abilities and your future. And those limiting beliefs are mainly coming from your subconscious self. It's kind of like Randall from Recess. Do you remember that character? The snitch who would have his notebook out and be writing everybody's infractions? That's literally your subconscious. So it's just quietly sitting in a corner, taking note of all the things that may have happened to you as a child, or the things that you witnessed growing up. And it's building this sense of self based on all that crap. And maybe you're listening to this and you're not fully your old self. Maybe you're partway through transitioning from your old self to your new self, like I was after I quit my job and I took that leap, but I wasn't fully ready to embrace my new identity. So maybe you're somewhere in between, in betwixt, and now you're riddled with all this doubt or nostalgia or guilt or imposter syndrome or discomfort. So no matter where you are, if you're in that in-between phase or if you're fully in the parasite, flesh-eating, weird, old limiting belief sense of self, this is what you need to do. Are you ready? Come close. You need to scare the crap out of yourself. I'm not kidding. You got to do the exact thing that scares you so bad that you're about to soil your pants. Because if you look deep enough, you'll see that whatever limiting beliefs you have are driven by fear. So there are 3 things that you need to do. The first thing is you need to take inventory of all your limiting beliefs. And you can do this any way you want. You can meditate, take a walk out in nature, journal. I love writing letters to my future self. And this has been something that's helped me find a lot of my limiting beliefs, because it's almost like somebody else is writing that letter for me. Like, I just put pen to paper without thinking, and I'm always surprised by what comes out. It's truly a really interesting experience. I highly recommend that. If you're not somebody who's very like introspective, who's not into the whole woo-woo thing, then you can even take a life traps quiz. Life traps are self-destructive patterns of thinking, feeling, behaving that are formed in childhood. And that's a really good place to start if you want to just get an idea of what those limiting behaviors and mindsets are that are holding you back. So there's a ton of ways that you can take inventory of your limiting beliefs. And chances are, what's going to happen is you're going to notice one or two main beliefs are going to come out. Maybe you have this big fear of abandonment. Oh, if I start making a lot of money, people are going to think I'm greedy and they're going to abandon me. People are going to stop being my friend. People are going to turn on me. So you're probably going to have like one or two big limiting beliefs in there that kind of guide the rest of the limiting beliefs as well. It's like the chief parasite. And this step is really important because you need to be able to name the belief before you're able to address it. So if a limiting belief is like being mentally stuck in a location you physically left, you have to figure out first what that location is. Okay? So that's the first step. Take inventory of those limiting beliefs. The second step is to feel the belief. And I'm going to quote a really good line from the book, Reinventing Your Life, which is about the life traps that we have. Here's the quote. It is very difficult to change deep pain without first reliving it. I know you probably thought I was going to say some nonsense after I cleared my throat. Never let them know your next move. So you're going to take that one belief and you're going to feel it. Maybe you close your eyes and visualize where that belief came from and how it made you feel as a child. Maybe you write a letter to yourself. Whatever it is that you can do to engage in that introspection, do that and feel it. An interesting example from the book I just mentioned, Reinventing Your Life, is the psychologists who wrote it. They say that they tell their patients to write a letter to their inner child. And they, as the adult, they write with their dominant hand, and then they respond as the inner child with their non dominant hand. And I thought that was simultaneously really interesting and really creepy, but I'm just giving that suggestion in case it's something that you might want to do. And I know it'll be painful, it'll be uncomfortable, but you'll survive. Like you're not going to burst into flames and die. Like you're going to be fine, okay? The next thing that we need to do, number 3, is to start challenging. So after you've named the belief and felt the belief, now it's time to challenge the belief. I'm going to read another line from the book Reinventing Your Life that I really, really liked. There's an old saying out in Texas, probably in Tennessee too, that says, fool me once, shame on. There's shame on you. You fooled me, can't get fooled again. I had to do nonsense, and this was a long one. Okay, this is the actual quote. Remind yourself that insight comes quickly, but change comes slowly. Yeah, fool me once, shame on. Shame on you. So when it's time to challenge the belief, you're going to do it on an intellectual level and also on an emotional level. Intellectually, you need to do something that makes you realize how dumb this belief is. So maybe you write a list of all the things that contradict that belief. Maybe you just talk to yourself and tell yourself how stupid the belief is and how it's not real. Maybe you introspect and understand that everybody is in a relationship with themselves before they enter a relationship with you, and nothing people do is personal. So maybe you go and listen to Girly Law of Power number 4 or read Patriarchy Hack number 4 in my book and start from there. So whatever it is that you do, intellectually, you need to understand that you have this butt crack belief in your mind that is holding you back. Okay? On an emotional level, and this is really important because we tend to make decisions based on emotion rather than intellect. Okay, we feel first, decide second. Emotionally, you need to feel what your life is going to look like without those limiting beliefs. If you're trying to leave a job that you hate, for example, maybe you envision how you feel on Sunday evenings when you don't have the Sunday scaries and you don't have this crippling sense of dread that comes with your Sunday evenings. This is exactly how I felt on Sundays for years working corporate. Oh my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. So feel what your life would be like without those limiting beliefs and with the success that comes with your new self. And this is when you have to do things that scare the crap out of you. Remember, our brain and our nervous system don't like change. They want to keep us safe, but no change means no discomfort. And no discomfort means no improvement. Don't piss me off. So you need to be uncomfortable. If you don't feel like you're scared out of your wits at least a couple of times a week, then you are doing something wrong. If your under boob is not sweaty at least a couple of times a week, you are doing something wrong. You want to know something? My under boob is sweaty every time I record because discomfort and improvement go hand in hand. And that discomfort is coming from that parasite, that old sense of self that is resisting being killed, essentially, being annihilated, getting done with. Your old sense of self is trying to cling on to you because it knows that you are one step closer to getting rid of it. So take discomfort as a good sign. And it bears mentioning that a lot of our fears, especially as women, come from being seen, being perceived by other people. That's why I have a whole episode and a whole chapter in my book on being the center of attention. Girly Law of Power 14 or Patriarchy Hack 14 in my book. Be the center of attention. That is intentionally there because being the center of attention and even being on the periphery of attention, just getting any attention, scares the crap out of most of us. And that is no way to live because attention is where you get power, influence, money, opportunities. If you're not seen, you don't exist. Okay? What can't be seen doesn't exist. So if you're in the periphery of the room, if you're a fly on the wall, okay? If you're in the corner like a loser, you are going to be deprived of everything good that comes with attention and the social currency associated with your attention, associated with your presence. So I bet you somewhere in your limiting beliefs, there is a fear of being seen. And I know for me, that was the case. And you might look at me right now and be like, oh, well, she's putting out videos and episodes. She puts out content on social media and my face is everywhere. My name is everywhere. At one point that made me very uncomfortable. And sometimes it still makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but it's something that I have to do. And the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes, the more natural it becomes. And here's the cheat code, because when that revolution comes, you're going to realize that there's always a cheat code. You can fast track your new sense of self, building your new identity through aesthetics. Change something in your room. Wear a new piece of jewelry. If you always wear the same necklace, wear a different necklace. Get a few new items of clothing and make it feel like you have a bit of a different wardrobe. Get a new haircut. Whatever it is, do something that aesthetically looks different so that the old aesthetic that you had was associated with your old sense of self. If you're watching this on video, you'll notice that my background is different. And that is not a coincidence. I did that on purpose. I changed my background. I changed the angle of the camera because I want to make it look like I have a new feel. I even started wearing more silver jewelry. Up until a few months ago, I was strictly a gold jewelry girly. But when I wear silver jewelry, which I'm doing today, I feel like, I don't know, it's like my superstar jewelry. I feel different. I feel different when I wear silver jewelry. And that's another way that I manipulate my reality through aesthetics. So all that to say, use aesthetics as a cheat code. And to recap everything I just said, name it, feel it, challenge it, and then go and shit your pants from how scared you are.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
I want you to understand that where you want to be doesn't exist. And you might be thinking, what? I said what I said. Instead of thinking, oh, this is where I want to be, start thinking, this is who I want to be. Okay? Because where you want to be and who you want to be go hand in hand. Everything starts with your self-concept. And for many of us, our current who Our current version of ourselves is our worst enemy because it's that parasite that's feeding off of all the great things that would have otherwise built the future version of ourselves, that would have given us the reality that we so desperately want. So start thinking of who you want to be alongside what you want to achieve. And let me tell you something, you're going to think that there's a point that you're going to get to, whether it's a salary that you want to get, a certain number in your investment portfolio, or whatever. You think there's this one thing that you want to achieve. But let me tell you, you're going to get there, and then the goalpost is going to move a little bit. For example, I really just wanted to sell 100 books, and I'm about to hit 1,000. Hey baddies, editing Nikki here. I actually hit 1,000 copies. Woo! And my book became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Anyway, carry on. And in a few months, I'm going to be like, okay, well, now I want to hit 10,000. And then probably sometime later this year, I'm going to try to get to 100,000. So the goalpost just keeps shifting because as you keep evolving into better versions of yourself and continually updating your software, your goals are going to get bigger to match newer versions of yourself. Does that make sense? Like, you update your phone constantly. If you have an iPhone, I'm getting notifications for updates all the time. All the time. Again, your thoughts and your desires and your self-concept are the instruction manual for the universe to give you what you want. Okay? She's on your side. She's just waiting for you to figure your shit out first. And I'm going to end on this note. Your new life is going to come at the cost of your old self. And what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of things from your old life. You're going to lose things. You're going to lose people. You're going to lose things that you didn't even think you could lose. And that's okay. Trust the process. You've heard me, if you've tuned into this podcast for the last few months at least, you've heard me talk about all these random friends who've dropped off the face of the earth, or my friends who backstabbed me, treated me poorly, didn't congratulate me on my book, pretended like my podcast didn't exist, gave me really cheap birthday gifts after I gave them hundreds of dollars of cash gifts for their events, all sorts of stuff. You've heard all these stories, and that's because a lot of people feel safe with the old version of you. You're not the only one who feels safe and benefits from that current safe, comfortable, parasitic version of you. Because once you start updating your internal software and you become better versions of yourself, you're going to start to threaten their sense of smallness. And instead of those people looking at you as an example and being like, wow, if she did it and she's achieving these great things, then I can do it too. Instead of getting motivated by you, they're going to feel threatened by you. And they're going to lash out. They're going to backstab you, exclude you, gossip about you, treat you badly, disrespect you to your face, be passive aggressive. Whatever it is that those victim-minded losers need to do to feel better about their crappy selves, they're going to do. So be prepared to lose a lot of things that don't align with the new version of yourself. And for me, it took me a while to realize this is just the universe doing her spring cleaning for me, getting rid of all the crap. So don't lament these losses too much. Don't be stuck in nostalgia. Don't think that you're doing something wrong. When things start to crumble, people start to leave, you start to lose things, that is a sign that you are evolving into the next version of yourself. And that should be promising. And sure, your under boob will sweat a little bit, and that's fine. We want that, okay? Just remember to wash your bra. If you're like me and you wear the same bra every single day, then you might need a reminder for that. But anyway, we're getting off track. So, baddies, I'm going to close on that note. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure to rate this podcast 5 stars or subscribe, follow, do whatever you want to do. And if you want to grab a copy of my book, I will leave all the links in the description. All right, in the meantime, don't forget that you are the baddest bitch in any building that you step foot in. Until next time, stay bad. Love you. Bye. All right, it's time to run through all my shout-outs of the bad bitches supporting on Patreon. I changed accents. Shout out to Kate, Danny, Lindsay, Emberly, Brittany, Hannah, Shara, Amanda, Adriana, Mina, Gemma, Katia, May, Naomi, Nilufar, Adelaide, Nadia, Faith, Amy, Melinda, Sophia M, Sophia K, Jada, Amara, and Kat. Thank you, baddies, so much for your support.
It fooled me. We can't get fooled again.